Look, I'm not saying I joined the Galactic Diplomatic Corps because I wanted to show off. That would be petty. I joined because the pay was excellent, and because someone had to make sure humans didn't accidentally start an interstellar war by using the wrong fork at a state dinner. My name is Jake Donovan, and I'm what they call a diplomatic security officer, which is a fancy way of saying I stand around looking intimidating while important people argue about trade routes. The thing is, looking intimidating is significantly harder when you're surrounded by aliens who are twice your size, have natural armor plating, or can literally breathe fire. So I compensate. I work out, I stay sharp, and I carry a katana, not a replica, not some mall ninja garbage. A genuine, folded steel, been in my family for 12 generations. Katana that my great-great-grandfather carried in a war that most of the galaxy has never heard of. It's beautiful, it's deadly, and apparently, it's hilarious. Is that a letter opener? Commander Thorvik asked the first time he saw it strapped to my side. He stood about 7 feet tall, had 4 arms, and a face that looked like someone had carved it out of granite and then punched it a few times for good measure. His species, the Kryn, were the military backbone of the Galactic Council. They were tough, disciplined, and about as subtle as a brick through a window. It's a sword, I replied, keeping my voice level. A sword. He repeated the word like I had just claimed to hunt space pirates with a spoon. How quaint. Does it also function as a primitive eating utensil? The other warriors in the training facility laughed. There were maybe a dozen of them, representing 6 different species, all of them armed with plasma rifles, energy blades, or in one case, bioelectric tentacles that could stun a bull elephant. They were practicing in the station's combat arena, a massive room with holographic training scenarios and enough safety protocols to Remender's efference. Ensure nobody actually died during practice. Probably. It functions just fine, I said. Thorvik grinned, showing way too many teeth. I am certain it does. For cutting fruit, perhaps, or threatening very small rodents. He activated one of his 4 energy blades, a shimmering field of contained plasma that hummed with enough power to cut through a steel bulkhead. This is a weapon, human. What you carry is a museum piece. I should have walked away. That would have been the diplomatic thing to do. But 12 generations of swordsmiths were looking down at me from whatever afterlife they had ended up in, and I could practically hear my grandfather calling me a coward. Care to test that theory? I asked. The laughter stopped. Thorvik's grin widened. Oh, he said. I absolutely do. Before Thorvik could officially challenge me to a duel that would probably get me fired. A small furry blur inserted itself between us. Lieutenant Pip was about 3 feet tall, looked like someone had crossed a rabbit with a nervous breakdown, and was quite possibly the only genuine friend I had on this floating diplomatic circus. Commander Thorvik, sir, with all due respect, which is considerable, perhaps we should all calm down and remember that this is a training facility designed for practice and professional development, not for settling disagreements that might result in incident reports that I would have to file. And I really hate filing incident reports. They take forever. And, Pip, I said gently, breathe. He took a breath. His whiskers were twitching at maximum velocity. Jake, Commander, please, can we just acknowledge that both weapon systems have their merits and move on with our lives like reasonable sentient beings? The human claims his primitive blade is effective, Thorvik said, crossing all 4 arms in a gesture that was somehow both impressive and deeply condescending. I merely wish to demonstrate the superiority of modern combat technology. It is educational. The Diplomatic Corps values education, does it not? That depends on the lesson, I muttered. Pip's ears flattened against his head, which I had learned meant he was experiencing significant stress. Jake, I really think you should reconsider this. Thorvik is undefeated in station combat trials, 63 consecutive victories. He has 4 arms, you have 2. The math is not in your favor. I can count, Pip. Can you, though? Because the evidence suggests otherwise. A crowd was gathering now. Word spreads fast on a space station where the most exciting thing that usually happens is someone discovering a new flavor of synthetic protein paste. I spotted Ambassador Krelok slithering through the assembled aliens, his serpentine body weaving between legs and appendages. Krelok was a Cytherian, which meant he was cold-blooded, silver-tongued, and absolutely lived for drama. Oh my, he hissed, his forked tongue flickering with what I can only describe as malicious glee. Is this what I think it is? Are we about to witness a formal sparring match? How delightfully barbaric. I mean, how wonderfully traditional. Someone fetch the recording drones. This must be documented for posterity, or for the memorial service. Whichever comes first. There will be no memorial service, Pip squeaked. Well, not for the commander, certainly, Krelox agreed. Thorvik's expression darkened. You doubt my victory? Oh no, Krelox said smoothly. I doubt nothing. I merely observe, and occasionally commentate. Speaking of which, shall I provide live analysis for our assembled audience? I do have experience in sports broadcasting from my youth. Granted, it was announcing ritual combat where the losers were fed to carnivorous plants, but the principles are the same. I should mention that I hadn't actually agreed to anything yet, but between Thorvik's ego, Krelox's showmanship, and the fact that at least 40 aliens were now watching us, with varying numbers of eyes, backing down would have been worse than losing. Sometimes you have to commit to stupid decisions just to maintain credibility. Fine, I said. Formal sparring match. Standard non-lethal protocols. First to yield, or first to land a decisive blow. Thorvik nodded, his grin returning. Agreed. Shall we say 1 hour? That gives time for the proper arena setup, and for you to perhaps reconsider this foolishness. 1 hour works, I said, ignoring the second part. As Thorvik strode away to prepare, radiating confidence like a small sun radiates heat, Pip grabbed my sleeve with one tiny paw. Jake, he said quietly, I know you think you know what you're doing, but I've seen Thorvik fight. He's fast, brutally fast, and those energy blades can adjust their length mid-combat. And he has 4 of them. 4, Jake. That's 4 more than most people. Thanks for the math lesson, Pip. I'm serious. He once disarmed 3 opponents simultaneously, while using his 4th blade to deflect incoming fire. He's trained in 7 different Kryn combat forms. He meditates 4 hours daily on warfare strategy. Pip. I put a hand on his shoulder. Trust me. His whiskers drooped. You didn't train today, did you? You spent the morning reading and drinking coffee. I spent the morning maintaining my edge, I corrected. There's a difference. That's not reassuring. It wasn't meant to be. Krelox slithered past us, already speaking into a comm device. Yes, Combat Arena 3, 1 hour. Spread the word. Oh, and start a betting pool. I'm putting 500 credits on the Kryn commander. No offense to our human friend, but I'm a realist, and I do enjoy credits. Pip looked up at me with huge, worried eyes. The betting odds are going to be terrible for you. Good, I said. That means if I win, you can make a fortune. If you win, Jake, the odds are probably going to be 100 to 1. I smiled. Then bet everything you have, Pip. Trust me, this is going to be the easiest money you ever make. He stared at me for a long moment. Then his whiskers perked up slightly. You know something? I know several things. For example, I know that Thorvik has never fought anyone trained in traditional earth sword arts. I know that energy blades have a predictable activation sequence. And I know that confidence is often the difference between victory and defeat. And you're confident? Pip, I said, heading toward the locker room to prepare. I'm so confident it's bordering on arrogance. Now go place that bet before the odds get worse. 53 minutes later, Combat Arena 3 looked like the galaxy's weirdest sporting event. The circular platform in the center was surrounded by tiered seating that had somehow filled with what I estimated to be 200 spectators from at least 20 different species. Some had eyes, some had eye stalks. One appeared to be a sentient cloud of gas that was just sort of hovering near the back, presumably watching through whatever weird sensory organs sentient gas clouds have. The betting pools, according to Pip's frantic whispered updates, had indeed settled at 100 to 1 against me. He had apparently mortgaged his entire month's salary on my victory, which either made him the most loyal friend in the galaxy, or the dumbest. Possibly both. Krelox had positioned himself at what he was calling the commentator's platform, which was really just an elevated section of seating where he could see everything and make sure everyone could hear him. He was speaking into a voice amplifier, his theatrical nature on full display. Ladies, gentlemen, and assorted other configurations of sentient life, he announced, his voice dripping with dramatic flair. Welcome to what may very well be the shortest or most surprising combat exhibition in station history. In one corner, we have Commander Thorvik, undefeated champion, master of the 4-blade technique, a warrior whose reputation precedes him, like a shockwave precedes an explosion. The crowd cheered. Thorvik, now in full combat gear minus the actual armor, stood at his end of the arena doing warm-up exercises that involved spinning all 4 energy blades in increasingly complex patterns. It was intimidating, I'll give him that. And in the other corner, Krelox continued, and I swear I could hear the smirk in his voice. We have Diplomatic Security Officer Jake Donovan, armed with what I'm told is a genuine antique from Earth, a planet known for its tenacity, its determination, and its frankly baffling attachment to outdated technology. Will his primitive blade prove effective against modern warfare, or will we witness a very expensive museum piece get vaporized? Place your final bets now. You're not helping, I called up to him. I'm not trying to help, dear human. I'm trying to entertain. There's a difference. Pip scurried up to me one last time, his ears flat, his whiskers vibrating like guitar strings. Jake, last chance. You can forfeit. Claim injury. Fake a diplomatic emergency. I'll back you up. I'll say there's a critical incident requiring your immediate attention. I'm very good at lying when necessary, which isn't often, but I've been practicing just in case. Pip, I appreciate the concern, but I'm fine. You're fine. You're fine. The man facing a four-armed death machine is fine. He took several rapid breaths. Okay. I believe in you. Sort of. Mostly. A little bit. I tried to believe in you. Does that count? Before I could answer, Thorvik called across the arena. Are you prepared, human? Or do you need more time to contemplate your poor life choices? I'm ready whenever you are, Commander. Excellent. He activated all 4 energy blades simultaneously, and the humming filled the arena like angry electric bees. I promise to make this quick. I have dinner plans. I drew my katana slowly, letting the blade catch the arena's overhead lighting. The steel gleamed. 12 generations of craftsmanship. Folded thousands of times. Sharp enough to split a falling hair. My grandfather had taught me to maintain it. My father had taught me to respect it. And I had spent 20 years learning to use it properly, studying under masters who traced their lineage back centuries. But none of the aliens knew that. They just saw an outdated piece of metal. Perfect. Begin when ready, announced the arena's automated system, its artificial voice blandly neutral compared to Krelox's theatrics. Thorvik rolled his massive shoulders, all 4 arms positioning his blades in a defensive formation that could attack from any angle. He grinned at me across the platform. Any last words, human? I settled into a middle guard position, blade angled at 45 degrees, weight balanced. Yeah, 3 moves. What? This'll be over in 3 moves, just so you know what to expect. The crowd murmured. Krelox laughed. Did he just predict his own defeat in 3 moves? How refreshingly pessimistic. I think he means 3 moves until Thorvik wins. Someone in the crowd said. Bold of him to think he'll survive 3 exchanges. Another voice added. Thorvik's grin widened. Your confidence is admirable, and misplaced, but admirable. We'll see, I said. Ready when you are, Commander. Pip had covered his eyes with his paws. I could see him peeking through his fingers, unable to look away despite his terror. The arena's automated voice spoke again. Combatants ready. Match begins in 3, 2, 1. Engage. And then Commander Thorvik, undefeated champion of the station, master of 4-blade combat, made his first and biggest mistake. He charged. Thorvik came at me like a freight train with 4 very sharp attachments. His technique was actually impressive, I'll give him that. All 4 blades moved in a coordinated pattern designed to attack from multiple angles simultaneously, while his massive frame charged forward to use his weight advantage. It was the kind of overwhelming assault that had probably won him all 63 of his previous matches. It was also exactly what I expected. Move 1. I shifted my weight to my back foot and rotated my hips, moving maybe 6 inches to the left. Thorvik's leading blade passed so close to my chest that I felt the heat from the plasma. His second blade came in high. I ducked slightly, letting it pass over my head. His third and fourth blades were coming in from the sides, meant to cut off any escape route. Instead of retreating, I stepped forward into his guard, inside the arc of his attacks. My katana came up flat, and I used the side of the blade to redirect his momentum, guiding his rightmost arm past me with a simple deflection. It was basic judo principles applied to sword work. Use the opponent's force against them. Thorvik stumbled past me, his charge suddenly unbalanced. His eyes went wide with surprise as he tried to compensate, but momentum is a harsh teacher. He hit the arena floor hard with his lower right knee, barely catching himself from a complete faceplant. The crowd went silent, like completely silent. 200 aliens holding their collective breath silent. Krelox's voice finally cut through, and for the first time since I'd met him, he sounded uncertain. That was, unexpected. The human appears to have, well, the commander appears to have missed. Surely a fluke. Yes, a fluke. Thorvik pushed himself up, his face now showing something that wasn't cockiness. Respect, maybe. Or concern. He rotated all 4 shoulders, resetting his stance. Lucky, he growled. Was it? I asked, settling back into my guard position. Want to try again? This time, he didn't charge. He approached carefully, all 4 blades active and weaving in a complex pattern that would have been hypnotic if it wasn't trying to kill me. He was using the Kryn cross pattern, if I remembered Pip's nervous briefings correctly. 4 blades attacking in sequence, each strike covering the stunner. Recovery of the previous one, creating an endless chain of attacks with no openings. In theory, move 2. Thorvik struck high with his upper right blade. I parried, steel meeting energy with a sharp crack. His lower left came in for my legs. I stepped over it. His upper left thrust toward my midsection. I twisted, letting it pass. His lower right came up in an uppercut slash that would have disemboweled me. That's when I applied a technique called Kaishi Waza, a counter technique that's been around for about 400 years. As his blade came up, I brought mine down in a sharp, controlled strike against the hilt of his energy weapon. Not the blade, the hilt, the part that generates the plasma field. The energy blade flickered and died. Before he could process what happened, I flowed into the next movement, my katana describing a small circle that hooked under his upper right blade and twisted. The weapon flew from his grip, skittering across the arena floor. 2 blades down. Elapsed time. Maybe 4 seconds. Thorvik stared at his empty hands, then at his deactivated weapon, then at me. How did you... Energy blades have a stabilization point, I said conversationally, even though my heart was hammering. Hit it right. The field collapses. Also, your grip strength is in your lower arms, not your upper ones. Different muscle groups. You compensate well, but there's a tell in how you position them. The crowd wasn't silent anymore. They were buzzing with confused excitement. I heard someone shout, "Did the human just disarm him? Twice?" Krelox had recovered his theatrical voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually quite interesting. The human appears to have studied his opponent. How very, unsporting. I mean, how very strategic. Yes, strategic." Pip had uncovered his eyes. His whiskers were standing straight out in shock. Thorvik's expression had shifted from surprise to something harder. Anger, but controlled anger. Professional anger. He still had 2 energy blades, and now he was taking this seriously. "Impressive," he admitted. "You have skill, but you have not won yet, human." "True," I said. Then I did something that made Pip squeak in horror. I sheathed my katana, just slid it back into its scabbard like we were done. The crowd went absolutely insane. Shouts in a dozen languages. Krelox actually stopped mid-sentence, speechless for the first time in his probably very talkative life. Thorvik froze. "What are you doing?" "Giving you a fair chance," I said. 2 blades versus 1. Seems more sporting. His eyes narrowed. "You mock me." "No, Commander. I respect you. That's why I'm making this interesting," he roared, a deep sound that rattled my chest, and came at me with everything he had left. Both blades moving in perfect synchronization, high and low, a scissor attack meant to cut me in half regardless of which way I dodged. It was a good attack. A great attack, even. It was also committed. Fully committed. No feints, no deception, just pure aggressive power. Move. 3. My right hand went to the handle of my katana. My left hand steadied the scabbard. I dropped my weight, bending my knees, and drew. It's called Batojutsu, the art of drawing the sword. Some people know it as Aido. The principle is simple. The draw itself is the attack. The blade comes out of the scabbard at maximum speed along a precise cutting line, and if you do it right, the fight ends before your opponent realizes you've moved. I'd been practicing this draw since I was 8 years old. My blade sang as it left the scabbard, a high clear note of folded steel cutting air. It passed through the space between Thorvik's 2 energy blades, between his 2 swings, and stopped exactly 1 millimeter from his throat. 1 millimeter. Close enough that he could feel the cold metal against his skin. Close enough that everyone could see it. Too close for him to do anything about it. Time seemed to freeze. Thorvik's blades hummed on, either side of me, but they had already passed their striking points. To complete his attack would mean driving his throat onto my blade. The arena went so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. "Decisive blow," I said softly. "I believe that means I win." Thorvik's eyes met mine. For a long moment, neither of us moved. Then, slowly, carefully, he deactivated both his remaining energy blades. "I yield," he said, his voice barely a whisper. I withdrew my blade, stepped back, and sheathed it in one smooth motion. The arena exploded with noise, and Krelox, recovering his composure, shouted over the chaos. 3 moves. The human called it! 3 moves! Someone check my math, but I believe that makes everyone who bet on Thorvik significantly poorer. Pip was jumping up and down, his ears flopping wildly. I'm rich! I'm moderately wealthy! I can buy the premium protein paste! But I was watching Thorvik, because this was the important part. The part where we found out if he was a good warrior or just a skilled fighter. There's a difference. He looked at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, he smiled. Teach me, he said. Thorvik stood there in the center of the arena, all 7 feet and 4 arms of him, looking at me with an expression I hadn't seen before. Humility. It was weird on him, like seeing a mountain apologize for being tall. Teach you? I repeated, making sure I'd heard correctly over the chaos of the crowd. Yes. He gestured at his deactivated energy blade still lying on the arena floor. I have trained my entire life in modern combat. I have mastered every technique my people have developed over 3,000 years of warfare. And you defeated me in 11 seconds with a weapon that predates faster than light travel. Either you are the greatest warrior in the galaxy, or I have been missing something fundamental about combat. I suspect it is the latter. So, teach me. Before I could respond, Pip came bounding across the arena, practically, vibrating with excitement, and what I assumed was the euphoria of sudden wealth. Jake! Do you have any idea how much money I just made? Do you? Because I don't. The numbers are too big. I'm still calculating. I might be able to afford actual Earth coffee. Pip, breathe. I am breathing. This is what breathing looks like when you're financially stable. Krelock slithered down from his commentator platform, his silver scales catching the light as he moved. His entire demeanor had shifted from mockingly superior to carefully calculating. Well. It seems I may have underestimated our human friend. A mistake I rarely make. By which I mean I make it constantly but never admit to it. Jake Donovan, was it? Tell me, what other hidden talents are you concealing? Can you fly? Shoot lasers from your eyes? Turn invisible when convenient? I can make a decent omelet, I offered. Fascinating. But seriously, his eyes narrowed. Where did you learn to fight like that? That wasn't standard military training. I've seen human soldiers fight. They're competent, tough. But that, he gestured at the arena, was something else entirely. The crowd was pressing in now. Dozens of aliens all trying to get a closer look at the human who had just done the impossible. I could hear fragments of conversation in multiple languages, none of it entirely complimentary. Lucky Strike and Thorvik must have been ill, seemed to be popular theories. I should probably explain, I said, raising my voice slightly. The crowd quieted, because apparently everyone wanted to hear this. Before I joined the diplomatic corps, I studied Kendo, and Kenjutsu, and Iaido, and about 6 other sword arts whose names you probably can't pronounce. For 20 years, Pip's ears perked up. 20 years? Jake, you're only 34. I started when I was 8. My family has been making swords for 12 generations. My great-great-grandfather carried this exact blade in a war on Earth. My grandfather taught me to maintain it. My father taught me to respect it. And I spent 2 decades learning to use it properly from masters who traced their teaching lineage back centuries. Thorvik's eyes widened slightly. You are a master warrior. A true master. Not a soldier. Not a fighter. A master of an ancient art. I mean, I wouldn't say master. You stopped my killing strike with a draw technique that I did not even see begin. You predicted the match would end in 3 moves, and you were correct to the exact number. You disarmed me twice using leverage points I did not know existed on energy weapons. You are a master. Accept the compliment. Krelox chuckled. So the primitive weapon comment must have stung a bit, I imagine. Here you are, carrying a family heirloom representing 12 generations of craftsmanship and centuries of martial tradition, and we all called it a letter opener. How embarrassing. For us, I mean, not for you. You got to humiliate Thorvik in front of 200 witnesses. I suspect you're having a wonderful day. It has its moments, I admitted. An alien I didn't recognize, some kind of insectoid with way too many joints, pushed forward. You accept students? I wish to learn this technique. I have 4 arms like the commander. Surely I would be suited to your blade arts. I want to learn too, someone else called out. And I. Does it work with tentacles? Within about 30 seconds, I had somehow acquired approximately 15 potential students, all of them aliens who 5 minutes ago had been laughing at my sword. Pip leaned in close. Jake, I don't want to tell you your business, but I think you just accidentally became the station's most popular combat instructor. Also, Krelox is recording all of this. Also, I'm fairly certain you just changed interstellar military doctrine. No pressure or anything. I looked at Thorvik, who was picking up his energy blades with what looked like considerably more respect than before. "Commander, I was serious about teaching you. If you're serious about learning." He straightened, all four arms held in what I recognized as a crin salute of respect. "I am absolutely serious. I have been undefeated for 3 years. In those 3 years, I have learned nothing. Today, I was defeated in 11 seconds. In those 11 seconds, I learned that I know nothing. It is the most valuable lesson I have received in my entire military career." That's surprisingly philosophical. The Kryn are warriors, but we are not stupid. A warrior who cannot admit defeat is just a thug with weapons. A warrior who learns from defeat becomes stronger. I wish to become stronger. Krelox was definitely recording this. I could see the data crystal in his manipulator appendage glowing. This is wonderful, heartwarming even. The proud warrior humbled by the unassuming human. It's like a folktale. I shall write an opera about it. Or possibly a comedy. The line is somewhat blurred. "Please don't write an opera about me," I said. Too late. I'm already composing the tragic aria where Thorvik realizes his energy blades are useless. It's in B-flat. Very melancholy. I sighed. This was going to be a thing now, wasn't it? The human with the ancient sword who somehow became a combat instructor to aliens who had been mocking him an hour ago. "Fine," I said, addressing the crowd. "Anyone who wants to learn traditional blade work, meet me here tomorrow morning, 0600 station time. Bring whatever passes for athletic clothing in your species. Leave your egos at the door. And for the love of all that's holy, don't bring energy weapons. We're going back to basics." The crowd cheered. Actual cheering, for sword lessons. Pip tugged on my sleeve. "Jake, you realize you're still technically on duty as a diplomatic security officer, right? Like, you have an actual job that isn't teaching aliens how to be samurai?" "I'll file it as cultural exchange and interspecies cooperation training," I said. "The diplomatic corps loves that stuff." "You're going to file humiliating the station's combat champion as cultural exchange?" "Pip, I prefer to think of it as aggressive diplomacy." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he started giggling. The giggling turned into full laughter, his small body shaking with it. "What's so funny?" "You!" he gasped between laughs. "You let them mock you for weeks. Weeks! You knew the whole time you could do this, and you just let them make fun of your sword, and you never said anything. Would you have believed me if I'd told you? No. That's what makes it perfect. You weaponized our assumptions." He wiped tears from his eyes. "Oh, this is beautiful. This is the best thing that's happened since I got stationed here. I'm putting a photo of Thorvik's face when you stopped that blade at his throat on my wall. I'm making it my screensaver. I'm getting it tattooed on my..." "Okay, Pip. I get it." Thorvik approached again, his expression serious. "Tomorrow morning then, 0600. I will be there. And Jake Donovan?" "Yes, Commander. Thank you. For the lesson, for the humility, and for not actually cutting my throat when you could have. Anytime, Commander. Anytime." As the crowd dispersed and the arena began to empty, I stood there with my katana at my side, thinking about my grandfather. About 12 generations of craftsmen. About traditions that survive, because they work, not because they're fashionable. And about how sometimes, the old ways aren't primitive, they're just perfected. 2 weeks later, the combat training facility had changed. Where there used to be only plasma rifles and energy shields, there was now a section marked Traditional Weapons Training. Wooden practice swords lined the walls. A rack of various bladed weapons from a dozen different worlds sat in the corner. And every morning at 0600, the arena filled with aliens trying to learn something humans had. Figured out centuries ago, Thorvik was my best student. Turns out, having 4 arms is actually a disadvantage when you're learning proper sword technique, because you have to resist the urge to use all of them. But he was dedicated, disciplined, and surprisingly humble for someone who could bench press a shuttle. Pip made enough money off that one bet to buy premium coffee for a year. He also started a new betting pool on how long it would take Thorvik to master the basics. Smart money was on 6 months. I gave him 3. He's a fast learner when he's motivated. Krelox never did write that opera, thank God. But he did write an article for the Galactic News Network titled "Human Defeats Station Champion with Antique. Are Modern Warriors Too Dependent on Technology?" It went viral. I got interview requests from 17 different planets. I declined all of them. The weirdest part? Other humans on the station started carrying swords. Suddenly, everyone remembered they had a family heirloom or a martial arts background. The diplomatic corps actually issued a memo asking personnel to please stop challenging aliens to duels. I may have created a problem, but as I stood in the training hall, watching a four-armed Kryn warrior practice a basic overhead strike with wooden sword, being corrected by a 3-foot-tall rabbit alien who'd memorized all my lessons. I couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the old ways survive because they're nostalgic, and sometimes they survive because some punk kid is going to challenge you to prove they still work. Either way, my grandfather would be proud. And Thorvik's overhead strike was getting better. "Commander," I called out, "elbow down. You're telegraphing the strike." "Yes, sensei," he rumbled, adjusting his form.